Welcome back to Undefining the Pod, the space where we break free from labels, celebrate creativity, and explore out how identity, culture, and reinvention shape who we are. I'm your host, Glo Butler, and today's episode is about finding your voice in your space in a world that loves to put us in boxes. Let's dive in. Okay, 1 second. All right, you guys, join me. Okay, no, that's not how I want to start. 1 second. The morning. Okay. This is how I'm going to start it. Okay. All right, today I'm joined by an incredibly talented... I like how you're laughing. It's funny. This brings the fun out of it. No, everybody else is just like, I'm so sorry.
So okay. Funny. Podcast hosting is tough. I get it.
It's not cute. Yeah. But you edit all this stuff out. All right.
Totally. Leave it in. Leave it in for context for the listeners.
Right, exactly. I should. All right. Today I'm joined by the incredibly talented Shenuque Tissera, a queer Sri Lankan, I said that wrong, actor, writer, and comedian from Staten Island. Shenuque's story... All right, let's do this again.
This is great.
All right, today I'm joined by the incredibly talented Shenuque Tissera, a queer Sri Lankan actor, writer, and comedian from Staten Island. Shenuque's storytelling shines across stand-up stages, off-Broadway productions, and even HBO Max. As co-founder of Many-Sided Media and the mind behind the award-winning show My First Dungeon, he's constantly expanding what comedy and creativity can look like. He's currently working on his stand-up special, Where Do We Belong? And if that's not enough, he also produces and hosts the comedy show Petty Claims, hilariously settling petty grievances on stage. Today's episode is called Undefining Belonging, Comedy Culture, and Finding Your Name. Let's welcome Shenuque. Shenuque, how are you on this beautiful Saturday morning, or semi-beautiful Saturday morning?
Hey, thanks, Glo. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Phenomenal intro. I feel very important.
If you can't tell, I never asked for your bio because you're one of those really, really organized comedians who actually has a website with pages and links and things that you can go to. If you have a question about, hey, it's labeled right there. You can just, I love stuff. I love you. I love stuff like this.
Yeah, you can find out all my business on the internet.
Exactly.
You can see all of it.
We can, exactly. We have, you literally have everything. Every step you make, everywhere you're going to be, everything. There's nothing to
totally
hide.
Like, yeah, if you wanted to murder me, you could do it so easily.
Yeah, you could. I mean, I think that would be really easy. I shouldn't agree. I shouldn't agree to that right now. That sounds really sketch.
Glo's like, yeah, I'm gonna
don't check in on me later. Like,
if I die in the next week, you know.
Right, this is gonna be bad timing. My goodness. Or like, Glo, look in on her. She lives at. No, I'm just kidding. Just take me in. I didn't even do it. Take me. This is getting dark, and I don't need that right now. Right away.
I love it.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I really just wanted to I'm gonna jump right in with the questions because I'm gonna start when like you were born, like the womb. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh hell yeah! I remember all of
it. Really?
No.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Let me get through this first question. Let's see here. All right. When did you first realize that performing or storytelling was going to be a part of your life? Like, what was like that specific moment? Were you baby or were you like much older?
I knew I always liked it. I remember when I was a kid, I would like do like silly goofy things for my mom. My mom would say like, "Oh, you'd be such a good actor. You'd be such a you're such a funny kid."
That's
but
cute.
Like never seriously. She was, I think, always the back of my like, that's just a thing I'm gonna tell my son. But I want him to be a doctor. So like whatever. And like I knew I liked it. I knew I liked attention in that way.
Yeah.
But then like went through college and was like, I'm gonna be a professor one day, and went to grad school and like was teaching for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And the best part of teaching for me was like basically holding a room hostage of like, you have to listen to me for an hour and a half and I can say whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
And then I hated grad school. I hated every other part. And so I dropped out to do comedy. And then I was like, this is it. This is the thing. I found it. So it's always kind of been there. Like, this attention-seeking psychotic desire that I
don't
have.
call it that at all. That sounds horrible. But your mom planted that in your head, though.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I blame your mom for that. I'm just kidding.
Totally, that's her fault.
But I think that it sounds like she just built that confidence in you, like how people kind of, I would say, like the world would see as far as like looks or appearances or how you act might, because that's what people think, that, hey, I want that. They might see somebody on TV, but hey, I want that. But then your mom was like, no. That was cute and all, but like now you gotta
that's like
go
a
to
hobby.
grad school.
That's a thing you do on the side.
So did they feel some type of way when like you actually started taking this a little bit seriously?
Yeah, I mean, like I didn't really tell them too much. Okay. I feel like I don't like they just don't understand it, and like I think for my parents, they just want to know I can survive. And so like I think for the first few years, I was still like working like a full-time job and like doing all those things on top of comedy. So they didn't really care. They're like, oh, he's doing this as a silly little hobby. Good for him.
Yeah.
And they would come to shows and they'd be supportive as hell.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until maybe like 2-3 years ago where I was like going through my divorce and like living with my parents. And my dad was like seeing how many shows I was doing and like how I was never home. And he was like, oh, you're working really hard at this. And like had like a talk with me of like, I see how hard you work now. Like I thought it was just like you're doing this for fun. Yeah. Like I'm proud of you. You're working really hard, and I can see that. And I was like, that's crazy, dude. You can't say that to me now. That's ridiculous. What do you mean you're proud of me? Fuck off, dude.
Over this?
Yeah.
All those things I did. I walked.
Yeah.
He was like, and this is what makes you proud of me?
Right.
No, like I totally get that. Like parents are interesting. I would say it that way. Like the parents are really interesting because you work so hard to almost in a way seek their approval. And it's especially when you're born in like where culturally even that's what's important is that like you make your parents happy and make them proud and do whatever they want you to do.
Right. Especially, I don't know, like I feel like a lot of, and I'm trying to shed this, but like guilt of like, oh, my parents immigrated to this country, gave up, like didn't see their family for like over a decade, like gave up friendships, like a little like life. Yeah. For me to come be silly for money, like a fucking clown. And so like that I think still rests of like, have I, like the question of like, have I made this, or like am I doing the right thing? I think that's a weight on top of it of like, these people sacrificed everything for me to be here. I better fucking do something cool with this shit.
Yeah. That's the pressure behind it right there. So now you can't fail.
Right. There's no
nobody
option.
That's rock bottom. That's rock bottom.
Totally.
All right. So how has growing up as I'm gonna get this right, Sri Lankan American shaped your sense of humor on like storytelling and telling jokes and stuff like that? Yeah. Like how was the humor within your family?
I think like growing up, my dad was a very serious person and was like really like study, work hard, and like we're not no fun, no joking. Yeah. But like he, in like having known him now for 31 years, he is a very fun person, and so that I think was very hard for him because he couldn't hold that out. So like he'd be very jokey and funny, and like also is an attention-seeking monster like myself. So like I would see that come out when he was like with his friends, or if we were like at an event like together. Yeah. And I think that really shaped me as like why I really thrive off of like an audience. Yeah. And then B, like he's like a funny guy and like loves to joke around. Like his goal in life is to now just annoy the shit out of me. Like that's what brings him joy.
Because he probably knows he's like going to use this as material or something.
Totally. Like he's an attention-seeking like he loves when I write jokes about him because he's like, oh yeah, this is about me. And it's like, yeah, I'm you. And like I've fully come to like understand that I am now my father.
I love that.
But even the community is like a very like joke-heavy, lighthearted community. And like I think being Sri Lankan, it's such a small South Asian country. Like no one, I mean, people people know about it, but like not many people have like met many Sri Lankan folks. And like I think what I think I'm understanding now, or like trying to unpack, is like within the South Asian diaspora, India is like everyone knows India. Like everyone knows Bollywood. Everyone knows like they call all the foods by the Indian names. Like dal is everyone knows dal. Like it's like the lentil stew, right? But like in Sri Lanka, like we use totally different names for things. We like have very similar cultures, sure, but it's different because like we have a different language. We have a different like our major religion isn't Hinduism. Like and like this goes a lot for like the other South Asian countries too. But it's also like like being in the States. I find so much comfort within Indian and other South Asian communities because like we all kind of have a ubiquitous experience of like, oh, you're brown, fuck you, terrorist, and it's like, what the fuck? But also, if you go back to South Asia, if you like called a Sri Lankan person like Indian or like we're like, oh, you guys are like India, they'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Those guys are idiots.
That's
like
funny.
It's so interesting in the way of like. And, like, I think India doesn't give a fuck about Sri Lanka, honestly. Like,
Really?
they're not thinking about us. Because, like,
wow.
we're such a small country, and they're like, oh, Pakistan's there. Like, fuck those guys. And, like, Sri Lanka's like, hey, we're here, too. And they're like, who are you guys? And so I think, like, in the way it's also shaped my experience of, like, Indian Americans also assume that I know everything that's Indian, too. Because they only really know a lot of Indian folks.
They bunched it. It's like culture for like idiots around here because it's like to really break things down. It's like it took this country forever to like actually recognize other different races and stuff like that.
Totally.
But at the same time, it's just kind of like, okay, now we're ready to break it down to something. Hey, these are not just one body of like, just like you can break it. Like there are so many people that just have to go, hey, well, I just live near, it's over by or whatever, so people can get an idea. But no, let's justice for Sri Lankans. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. It's like,
they deserve to be recognized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, it's interesting because, like, I think, like, overall, like, Indian folks are great. Like, the culture is a lot of fun. Like, I love Bollywood movies. But I only know that context because I have Indian friends who have, like, forced me into that. And so, like, sure, like, this is a bit I'm workshopping, but, like, I feel like in America, Indian people are minorities. No doubt. Totally. But, like, in the context of, like, South Asians, they are our fucking white people. Like, they are so annoying at times and, like, will assume, like, oh, yeah, you know this song, right? Like, you grew up with this. I'm like, why? Why would I have known that song? I don't speak your language. Like, I don't do the things you do. And it's, like, understanding, like, my place in the context of brown culture in the West is, like, deeply interesting. And at the same time, like, how, like, brown culture, like, back home also is different. Like, because, like, if someone in America, like, if I saw an in-person being, like, I don't know, racist. That's not even a verb. But, like, I'd be like, yo, you can't, like, that's fucked up. Like, that's crazy. Like, I stand with these people, you know? But, like, in South Asia, I feel like it's such a different beast of, like, an Indian person versus a Pakistani person. They would, I mean, like, this is a general statement, but, like, there's a whole war and, like, bad blood and, like, a history of colonialism and, like... like partition, like there's just so much more context, whereas like India, Pakistan in the States, like chill. I mean, sure, there's like I think older generations that are here that are like still like partition, but like in general, like Indian and Pakistani people here vibe like it, like fucking they're best friends.
Because America's messed up, so it's like you have kind of, it forces you to kind of just trauma bond and just, hey, like this is like we're, they already think we're the same, so let's just hang out and vibe together or something.
Like the experience of that collective trauma is similar, so it's like, of course we're going to be friends here. But then back home, it's like the trauma is inflicted by, the powers that exist, which is not white people in India anymore.
It's against almost like that's my thing, like with I remind myself even like when thinking of like other countries and being like, hey, what is like the experience like? And this can be, just any place in the world where like people just kind of like, I would just use Asia, you know what I mean? Like where like you have China and Japan and all these other places where like people are kind of just putting them all in one bubble, or like even back in the 90s, everybody, like sometimes people used to call everybody Chinese, and I'm just like, that's not really, but it was messed up because that's what people in America were exposed to. They don't know anything else, and they weren't trying to learn anything else outside of this. But I can only imagine when you go to, where, like your, as far as like where your parents are from, or like where you, like as far as like your background, like I feel like growing up there, then they have their own pieces of like segregation or ways of like how they'll let you know that you're not this and whatever. Right. So I think, people automatically assume that anywhere you go, like you're just gonna be, everything's just like unity and whatnot. Totally. And that's definitely not the case, because there are way stronger, heavier, like more political issues that are going on in the world. And just like I can get into all the shit that's happening right now, but it's just a little frustrating when like people just don't educate themselves on like, what really goes on out there, and how,
Totally. And I'll just add this to it.
Sure, go ahead.
And we can move on if we want. Yeah. I don't mind when people who aren't like South Asian don't know about Sri Lanka. Like it's unrealistic to expect everyone to be like an expert on geography. Right. That's fine. Like if you assume I'm Indian and you're not brown, totally cool. I don't excuse it though when it's like other brown people. Like you're a moron. Yeah. You should know better, Like my community should actually have more understanding of South Asian diaspora than like a white dude from Arkansas.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially like when you're in also like what's considered like a foreign country, or like some place where like they're going to allow you to just like, just not be specific about like people's backgrounds, and like they don't want to acknowledge certain things and stuff like that. So the one thing here is to be able to have other like communities that like you can see yourself in. Like to feel seen within your own community. Like that's the chef's kiss. Yes, it is. Yeah. But you'll see more and more as it comes along. I feel like now in this time, in this day and age, like there's more diversity. There's more, of people of color than there is of, God forbid I say that somewhere and like people get their panties in a bunch, but you know what I mean? It really is like that. So there's more. Yeah. It's to the point where like you can't just look at somebody and assume. I had it was like the other week, there was a guy. This was in public, and like this guy walked up to 3 girls who we assumed spoke Mandarin, and he just started talking in Mandarin. And so they were just like, and so I kind of looked at him. We were all like working together. Yeah. And so like I looked at him, I was like, can I help you with anything? And then he stopped, he's like, I don't speak English, and then kept talking in Mandarin. And like, I just saw like the annoyance on their face, because they were just like, what the fuck? Because it was just like, don't assume that's my first time being exposed to like that happening in that way. You know what I mean? I mean, yes, I would, if there was somebody, there are people who automatically assume where I'm from and think and this and that. And I politely try to like explain to them how it works here. Totally. But we can't just think that. It's always good to either ask or like have a conversation if there's something that, we don't fully understand, or even that before we say, hey, you're one of us. Hey, wait a minute. What are you?
Show me your card. Which one are you? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. What is your last name? I feel like that's a giveaway for some people. Is that a giveaway for you? Like, kind of know?
Definitely like for India, Pakistan, Sri Lankan, like Nepal, Bangladesh. Like, I mean, well, at least Sri Lankans, I think, because our last names are like either like Gunadilaka, like Vedasekara, or like Fernando, because the Portuguese colonized us. Oh, interesting. So we have like a mix of like hella Sri Lankan, like traditional Sri Lankan names, and like my last name is Portuguese. Like it's Tissera, but it's the Portuguese Teixeira. And so just like the way colonization worked, coastal peoples basically got Portuguese last names, and then the interior kind of kept the Sri Lankan roots.
Hey, that's just like here, where like slaves have the last names of their owners and masters, which is insane. Because like for me, I'm just like, people are like, "What's Butler from?" I don't freaking know. Somebody looked it up and said it was like from Ireland, or whatever. I was like, you never know. I couldn't tell you. I don't know, because I was in I don't really know like my dad and his siblings have like different fathers and stuff like that. So like his father passed away at a young age, so we didn't really get to dig the way we wanted to dig into like their history. So at the end of the day, I'm just kind of like, I don't really want to dig that far.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's real, because like the digging is traumatic. Like you experience like to the inherited trauma of your ancestors of like, oh, my name was stolen. Is crazy. That's a crazy thing to have to experience as a person.
Yeah, man, I would love to know, like, if I had the most African name out there, like, give me that back.
Right.
I would change it. I would change it back just for like respect to my ancestors. Right, exactly. Jesus. Anyway, let's move on. I'm gonna talk about some other fun stuff. All right, so I want to talk about more of like the creative side,
cool.
And whatnot. So you're a comedian, actor, and writer. How do you know which creative outlet a story or idea belongs to?
Whoa.
I feel like I just got into like what that means and whatever, you know, because, Yeah,
I mean, okay. Obviously, like, I love storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the medium is hard to figure out. And I wouldn't say I'm like the best at knowing. But I think because of just the way my career has kind of moved, I kind of have a vague understanding of like how to figure it out. And I usually will start with like stand-up of like, cool, I have this idea, and I think my stand-up is is very narrative focused. Like there's usually a thread, and there's like I try and find deeper meanings into my jokes, whether that comes out, who knows, but I love a story like weaved in with jokes and bits and silly whatnots. And so I'll do it on stage, or like I'll write it as a stand-up joke, and like if it starts getting a little bit word heavy and like the cutting process doesn't really fit, then I'll kind of know, okay, this might be better in like a script, or like maybe it's like more of like a TikTok content bit. And I think from there it just kind of goes into like, well, can I make this a little bit? Like, is this realistic to make? Like, where does the narrative fit in terms of my financial capabilities?
You know? That's what you got to do. You're like, hey, what can I afford to like? Right. How far can I open?
Exactly.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And so like, and I think there's like also like the dream, like you just have stuff in the bank for like, oh, like Netflix comes to you and they're like, oh, we want to make a movie and we like your stuff. Totally. Like that is also a great. But also I think there are a lot of times where like I've done stand-up bits or like content, and I'm like, oh, this could be longer. Yeah. Like this actually has legs to be a pilot or a TV show or those are the same thing. A film or like a short, or I can just even do this as a TikTok content thing. Yeah. I think what I find super interesting is just like, or like for me, telling stories can be done in so many ways. And I think that's what I've learned to appreciate about doing all these things of like, oh, there's control and different ways to tweak a story depending on what position you sit at. If it's a stand-up, actor, director, writer, like you have different knobs you turn to tell a good story. Even podcasting, like there's just such important narrative tools that I'm now learning on like how to like grow those, and how do I take those tools and sharpen those knives to tell better stories.
Yeah, I like that, because that one thing that that's different than where it was, even I'm sure even for you, like when you started doing comedy, that it looks different now. As far as like what your like opportunities or like outlets that you can go into, like now we have TikTok, now we have social media, now we have YouTube, and these are things that we can monetize off of. So of course, why not be able to knock out two birds with one stone? But that's one thing that I like, that you have that flow of just being able to figure out like if you want to elaborate, do more with it, because I've probably never reached that far ahead. Like I understand about jokes, but I say that I bring up TikTok. I don't know why I'm sweating. Sorry, that is so unnecessary. But as far as like TikTok goes, with the more content you post, that's where you'll end up putting more material out on TikTok, and you're like, wait, this could be a joke, but then you don't have a lot of comedians now. You have TikTok comedians where they'll just kind of, it's just for TikTok, and then, saying it on stage or whatever. It's so just being able to like just have an open enough mind to let it cook, in a way, and do more with it, or turn it into a short. Maybe it's something that you can tell a story through that. Yeah, I love that. Like, yeah. It's almost like you need like a big poster to say, "Hey, is this a topic that goes under TikTok or under or all of the above?"
I should do that.
I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. You.
No, and I think like that's such a good like the physical display of it is actually. I think I should do that more. Yeah. But I think like I don't know if you felt, but like I think when TikTok and like Reels started, I was like, screw this. Like I'm a stand-up. I'm not gonna put my content out there. Like I'm too good for that.
Absolutely.
And then like seeing like, oh wait, that's actually the way to find your audience and like voice and like who gives a shit? Nobody gives a shit about you until they know you.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's like, oh, I need to actually get on this train because this is helpful for me. I don't like. How am I being holier than thou when I actually have nothing?
Yes. Because you build a wall and then you also build a fear. You know, like you're really, and that's already what we're doing. We're already vulnerable putting ourselves out there to talk about anything, to give the world all of this information and for people to have like opinions and thoughts and, these to be conversational pieces and stuff like that. So that's one thing that I definitely feel just being able to, also being able to just categorize and like separate in your brain so you don't go insane. On the different, on the ideas that you do have, because like when you're being so creative, sometimes it can just look like one big ball of, oh my God, I have this idea, and then just sitting down. But definitely if you don't put yourself out there in a way, like nobody can really see you. And I didn't realize like how much that truly matters and how much the results of it matters. Like I thought that was like maybe people were just saying, hey, that's based off their experience. No, that really happens. Things get quiet when you don't share what you have going on, and it sucks.
If you're not,
it sounds like I don't feel like it.
Totally. The bookings decrease. No one really cares about you because they just forget. Like, not that they don't like you. They just like they don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. They're like, okay, because there are people that want to support you. There are people that want to do it. And also, when I tell you representation matters, there are people out there that you haven't even met, that you don't even know, that are like, hey, I'm this guy. I'm this person. You know what I mean? Like this, it may not be exactly, what I mean, but it's just kind of like this, we need more of this. And that's why it's good to have platforms where there's some diversity, where you can see it all. Awesome. All right. So let's see here. Let's talk about your special. Your upcoming special is called "Where Do We Belong?" What does belonging mean to you these days, both on and off stage? We're gonna get a little deeper. I feel like this is like either gonna make us cry or. But what is?
Yeah, I think belonging. It touches on things we kind of talked about earlier about like. Being Sri Lankan, like I think like the first thing of belonging that I realized I was different was like my race, and then I realized like I'm also like queer, like liking boys isn't actually just like an everyone thing. It's like I'm a different sexually, and I think what I find interesting though is like the intersection of identity and place, and I think that's what my special is trying to do with the jokes, because like I feel that in like my gender, sexuality, like race, a lot of times, but also in like such small things too, of like where I grew up. Like I'm from Staten Island, and like technically I am a New Yorker. Like I paid New York City tax my entire life. But if I like go to Manhattan and like meet someone from Manhattan, there's like a 75% chance they're gonna be like, you're not a real New Yorker, and then I have to like kill them. Like that
you do. Like they have to go.
That's legally like I have to get rid of them. But like even in that sense of like my identity because of where I was born, despite like living in New York City and like experiencing in that way, I have been stigmatized and like told no, you don't belong in such a small, stupid way. And like this happens in our lives in so many different places. Like there's so many norms to the ways our identities intersect with place.
Yes.
And I find that so interesting of like, even in like the small things of like, if I was to like walk into a college classroom and start lecturing, they'd be like, what are you doing? Like, that's crazy. But if a professor does it, like, that's normal. But it's the context of that place that makes that abnormal.
Yes. Yeah.
And
like, what makes you better than me? I'm just kidding.
Right. Yeah. Oh, you got a degree after 8 years, you moron? Good. Cool.
Yeah, that's
idiot.
true. It's true.
Yeah.
It's,
And like that obviously expands to like larger contexts of like racial violence and all those other things. But also there's more fun to be had with the smaller ones. Like, why does everyone hate me because I'm from Staten Island?
They can care less if you're queer, if you're everything else. They're like, what? You're from Staten Island?
Right,
Get out of here.
They're like, oh, that's cool. Like Sri Lankan, queer, hell yeah. And then Staten Island, get the fuck out.
So you're right. It's like, no, that's where it stops.
Yeah, we actually don't serve these people here. You know?
That is real. Yeah. So it's basically just, having it's the spaces that you're in that you're like, we have things in common, but somehow you're finding a way to make us different.
Yeah, totally. And yes, and I think that's what my special is trying to, like, it definitely unpacks like the racial stuff, the queer stuff, the gender stuff, and also just like the silly things, or like the things that we don't even realize we're doing.
Right.
To like ostracize people, and the way we like judge a place, or like just based on like what we have heard about it. Like most people that hate Staten Island are always like, I've actually never been. Like I took the ferry once, and I'm like, that's understandable. Like I'm not like, I like Staten Island like now as an adult, of like I understand the context of why I think it's a good place. And like fundamentally, it's like it's insane for me to be like, oh, Boise, Idaho is a terrible city. How can I say I've never been? Maybe there are lovely people there. Maybe there's like a cool thing, like a cool, I don't know. There's probably some redeeming quality about that place. And then like what, like what also, like, I don't know. If you're from Wisconsin and you tell me Staten Island sucks, what?
Yeah.
Then why are you here?
Yeah.
Like you would have liked Staten Island way better than Wisconsin, I fucking bet.
Yeah.
Like Spooner, Wisconsin is worse than Staten Island, I guarantee you.
Staten Island is beautiful. It's pretty. It's a pretty little area, town, city. Borough.
Yeah, whatever it is. They're like, but I also like in the context of New York City, it is not the same. And if you want New York City and you want like Manhattan, Brooklyn, you're not gonna get that, and that's okay. Like it's different, totally. But I
think everything is based around like experience, and don't like when people are either haven't been a place, don't know anything about it. That's checking off everything that's about you,
Totally.
And they're having an opinion about something they just know nothing about. That's when I'm just like, all right, well, pause. You know what I mean? Because when you really look and see and get to know, then you have a different opinion. But when it comes to like a place, I never understood when I moved here. Besides, I think it was the Staten Island, like the accent. I think that like people, that was the only thing. But my first job here, there was a girl that lived in Staten Island, and she was like, hey, you want to come home? And it wasn't like that. It was like her parents. She lived with her parents at the time, and she was just like, just come home, whatever. And so we just hung out. And it was
wait, that's your Staten Island accent?
And I just went, and I was just like, I was all about experiences. I'm still like that, but I have like more hesitation because like people get kidnapped and stuff like that. Totally. But yeah, I thought it was pretty, and I the whole time in the office that I worked in, they did not like people from Staten Island, and I was just like, when I went there, I was just like, nothing is wrong. And this girl like was the first, something was off about her, but like she welcomes me with open arms, and I was like, this is cool. She was normal to me, you know what I mean? So like people don't give them chance. They're not open enough. Their opinions are based off of something ignorant or just closed.
Totally.
So
there are things that definitely need to be improved on Staten Island.
Yeah,
100%. And we have our fair share of weirdos and like racist people, but I've also been like racially like racist in Brooklyn and like Manhattan. Like I got called a slur in Harlem, you know, like it's everywhere in the city. It's not just Staten Island where we like keep the racists.
Right. That's where you might know more of it, but everybody's just spread out, and it's definitely here. And also the city and even Brooklyn is more segregated than even places in the South. You know what I mean? Like everybody, and I understand because people, your community, and because there's like immigrants and people that are like only speak like their native language and stuff like that, they build communities around that. Like there are doctors' offices that might only speak Russian, you know, and they feel like especially for the older folks, they don't have to change anything. They can move here and whatever. So in a way, it benefits. In a way, it's like you know what I mean. But you can't change those things. Sometimes I would almost want people to feel comfortable, you know, where they're at, and just make it that way. But also, we can't. You know, same thing. No, I'm not going to bring white people into this because I'm just like, it doesn't apply to them. I was about to say, you know, we can't get, but yeah, we can. They have no reason to ever hate. They always hate. They always just do it. But anyway, so yeah, you know, I it's all about like experience and even just meeting people that, you know, where you form this opinion, like why? Because my next question is always like, why? What is your reason?
Totally.
Who hurt you?
Right.
Somebody hurt you.
Yeah.
Okay. But But yeah, I love that. That's bless you. I love that. That's the title of your special. That's really good, and it actually basically just explains like you in general, because I just know every time I met you, every time I see you perform, I learn something about you on stage. You know what I mean? And that's the best part is like you really do, and you've inspired me in ways to like. Because it's like embrace talking about it. You know what I mean? And like. Even though, yes, we had to grow up, like, maybe we have strict parents, maybe we have this and that, but, like, we actually, you know, that made me accept my mom more. I'm just kidding. Like, you helped me. Because it's like, I could just talk about it, you know. She's going to listen to this, because I did give my mom my podcast, but, like, she's going to listen to this, like, what? But no, you just help, like, it's just kind of embracing those, whether you thought it was a bad piece or a bad memory, or not even that, it doesn't have to be like that, you know, like traumatizing, but something that you're shedding light to, and you know, about your background, your upbringing, and just, you know, just seeing the light and being able to tell jokes about that, because like that is a special skill, you know, in general, and being able to see that bigger picture, because people are just living in it and they're built on like and moving in that family trauma. I'm not trying to say you don't have any like trauma, but you know, that's comedy is a way that can help like just kind of process the past, the present, and whatever you fear about the future. You know what I mean? So you inspire me a lot, because people want to be able to talk about and explain what their upbringing, what things were like, you know, but in a funny way. And you know, sometimes I'm like, all right, I haven't gotten to that point. Let me just write this down and let it marinate, you know? Because the comedians now, new comedians now, I'm not speaking about everybody, but I would just say that nobody gives, you know, they don't allow a joke to develop. You know what I mean? They're just ready to do that one line and just that bit and just keep it. And I blame TikTok. TikTok is the reason why they're just like, okay, if this is not told in 3 seconds, like scroll. Have you dealt with that in any of the shows you've been on? Have you felt that like maybe they wanted like more quick with it, like jokes than?
Well, first off, that was so nice of you to say. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, I didn't let you process that. You're like, oh, God, I saw you cry.
That's such a nice compliment. Thank you.
You're welcome, of course.
And then, I think TikTok and, like, Reels have changed the way comedians perform. I think a lot more people, like, will start their sets with, like, 5-10 minutes of crowd work just to get a crowd work clip. And you know, like, they'll put out bits before they're fully, like, a developed thing. Just because, like, you need content. People want to see more stuff from you, and if you don't post, like we said before, like, people forget you exist.
Yes. Yeah. I remember we having that conversation about that. What was the murder mystery thing that you?
The Art of Killing It.
The Art of Killing It. That was a creative. I love stuff like that. Now, have you watched that Netflix show, Shonda Rhimes? That they have a. They have something like that on. Yeah. It's really, really, really
I heard
really
it's
good.
really good.
Yes,
the Residence or whatever?
The Residence, yeah. It's really good.
I heard so many good things.
Yeah. And it just reminded me, like, I pictured you in it the whole time because it's, you know, you were just such a natural in there. All right. So, As a co-founder of Many-Sided Media and producer of Petty Claims, you built creative platforms from the ground up. What's been the most rewarding part of making your own spaces instead of waiting for permission? So like you just, because that's a big deal.
Totally. I think Many-Sided Media is probably my favorite creative pursuit in the past few years. So basically, Many-Sided Media is a podcast production company. We focus on actual play production. Which essentially means taking tabletop role-playing games and then playing them on mic or on camera, and then we do a sound design behind it to make it sound almost like a radio play. So the stories we tell, you're immersed in the world, and it's a soundscape. And we've won a bunch of awards now for our flagship show, My First Dungeon. And it's been such a cool outlet for a lot of reasons. So it's myself. I'm one of the co-founders, along with Brian Flaherty, Elliot Davis, and Abby Hepworth. And we all come from different parts of creative spaces. Like Brian and Elliot are film and TV people. Abby is a fashion writer, and I do comedy. And we started My First Dungeon as our first show, and it's grown really well over the past. I guess it's been 3 years now since we started that show.
That's nice.
Yeah, and so I think tabletop role-playing games in general are such a great tool, and it's a very new art form. In that the medium for film is the camera, right? People use a camera to tell a story. Right. The medium for a podcast is a mic, we're telling a story as we talk.
Right.
For a tabletop role-playing game, the medium is the game. The game is teaching you, the player, how to tell a compelling story. And if it's a well done game, you can tell such a good story with such ease. And I think that's such a beautiful experience. So many people find storytelling daunting.
Right.
And these games really help anyone tell a really good story. And it's fun because you're doing it in the moment. You're not writing anything on paper. You're not scribbling notes this was a bad take. It's all in the moment. If it's a good game, you're really getting in the nuts and bolts of that.
Yeah.
And then now for artists to take that and be we can take this and actually tell quality stories that people want to listen to, and it's funny, and you fall in love with the characters, you're crying, you're laughing, you're doing all these things, and you're seeing yourself. It is such it feels really cool to be at the forefront of work like this, of no one's really touched this super well. There are a couple big shows that now have taken off, Dimension 20 from Dropout TV's network just did MSG, basically playing Dungeons and Dragons. So there's a lot of growth to be had.
Right.
And obviously we can't do that. That is, they found the market, that's their niche. They if you're a D&D podcast starting now, my advice, stop. You need to find a different angle, because D20 and Critical Role, they have that market wrapped up. But always think about how you can push the artwork forward. How can you take this form of art and make it better, or do something different that no one else is doing? Because at the end of the day, I'm also competing with you can either listen to my podcast or you can watch Netflix. You could watch The Residence right now, or you could listen to my podcast.
Yeah.
And so if I'm gonna, ask you to make the time to listen to something, I have to put in a lot of work and effort and love to make sure it's of quality that you would be oh yeah, I'm gonna listen to My First Dungeon over The Residence because it's a good show. And I think it's been really cool to watch it grow, put in the work, see that the quality of work we're putting out is getting results. People are listening, we're getting awards. The show is growing. Publishers are now paying us to play their games. Nice. It's a very cool experience. Just to use comedy in that form, which I never imagined I'd do. 6-7 years ago when I started my first open mic. But yeah, it's an anthology. Basically, I didn't even say what it was. My First Dungeon is an anthology, and it's an anthology storytelling series where we basically play a different game each season to teach people how to play these games and also tell a good story. So we'll get the game designer on the first episode, ask them what is this game? How do you play it? What are your tips and tricks for the game master? And then we'll cast a bunch of people. They'll play the game. and then at the end of the series, the game creator will come back, listen to the series, and be like, "Cool, this is what you did right. This is what you did wrong." And at the end of the day, as long as you had fun, you did it right. Like, there's no wrong ways to play games.
Yeah.
So that's been cool. And then we've since expanded our network. We now have 3 shows total. One of them is called Talk of the Table. It's for basically tabletop role-playing nerds who want to get nitty-gritty into the business and industry.
Gotcha.
And then our third show is less gamey. It is actually an improvised Regency comedy show called Bitcherton. Basically, imagine Jane Austen and then Bitcherton and that world, all comic and silly and goofy and dumb. Which is another. We've just finished our first season, and it's looking really good. It's
Awesome.
one of the coolest things we've made, and we're hoping to do more in the next few years.
That is awesome. This is really cool. Like, and I'm gonna list all this stuff in the bio of this so people know where to check it out. But man, that is incredible. I didn't realize how deep this goes with such a company. And these are like very specific projects. Like, these aren't just, you know, like a few comedians like just hopping on a podcast just doing like this is actually using. And I'm sure. In a way, do you think that this works a muscle out for like stand up or like for other areas that you are working in? Yeah,
I think it's been really cool to see how this has influenced the way I look at other things. So like Petty Claims is a live comedy show,
right?
And I think so. I've been doing comedy for a long time. I produce shows, and none of them have lasted. Like they've all kind of died 2-3 years after. I think fundamentally a critical mistake most comedy producers do is they don't do enough pre-production work for their shows.
Right.
When they design their shows, they're designing for the experience of the comedians they book. Yeah. So they're worried about just make sure I tell the comics what to come and like what their set times are and all those things, which are important. But fundamentally, comedians will disrespect every show they're on.
Oh, absolutely.
They don't give they will show up late. They will not communicate. Like, they don't give a shit.
No, they don't.
And so like with podcasts, like we are designing the show not for the cast but for the listener. And like that's every other show in general too. Like everyone designs their shows and productions with the consumer in mind. Like that is the most important person because they're the ones that are giving you money. They're the ones that are going to come back. They're the ones that are going to recommend your show to other people. Who gives a shit if comics think your show is good? They're not paying for your shit. You know? And so I think that has changed the way I'm now reflecting on the way I produce. So like Petty Claims is all designed with the audience in mind. Like, how can I make the best experience for the people willing to pay me money and give me their time on like a Friday to see a show? Like, you could do so many things on a Friday in New York City. How am I going to convince you to come see this show, right? So the Petty Claims is essentially a show where we take 2 people who have a petty argument, usually like very low stakes. Of like, our first show, the argument was 2 friends who went to San Francisco together with a bunch of their whole friend group. They got burritos one night, and they were huge burritos. So they had leftovers. So the next day, they were heating up their burritos for lunch. And so this woman, Julia, she put hers in her toaster oven to heat it up. Worked well. Had a very nice, warm burrito. Her friend Sam put his in the oven. It did not heat up all the way through. So he then tried to put it in the toaster oven. Couldn't figure out how it works. Poor boy. So he then takes his cold burrito, goes to Julia, and says, "Hey, heat this up for me." And Julia was like, "What the fuck? No? Like, I can teach you how to use a toaster oven. I'm not your fucking slave. What do you mean heat this up for you?" And so that was like the whole argument. So basically we then gave them 2 lawyers who were comedians, and then they argued to a judge who's also a comedian, and then the audience is the jury. So at the end of the show, the audience just votes who's guilty. And then whoever loses has to do a punishment, essentially. And like there's a whole we do a pre-production thing where we like film confessionals, like it's like Jerry Springer-esque vibes.
I love that. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like giving thought and care to the product that you're going to give people. If they're like, $10-15 is a lot of money in this economy. That's 2 packs of eggs now.
Yeah.
And so like putting the care I would put into like my podcasts and like my scripts and all those things should go into the live show. And like if I can't give that effort to the show, then I shouldn't be doing the show.
Yes, yeah, I agree. That's one thing with producing that is really difficult is just finding like that show, or especially if you want to produce, host, all that other stuff. It's just finding where have a meaning behind it, have something that is outside of yourself that you're passionate about with this, because if not, then it's going to show. And I think once the reason why like those shows didn't work out, or even me myself, I had some shows that kind of like flopped too. They served their time. You know what I mean? They weren't anything that it was just meant to have, and not to say they're over. And same thing, you never know, there's something that you may revisit or whatever, but it's just one of those things where you're learning as you go. And so you will eventually become like a phenomenal producer of different, whether it's podcasts, live shows and stuff like that. It's just really just finding like where, like, just kind of finding what you need to do to draw the crowd in and to keep them there, because it's easy just to, I think you see all the comedy shows, they're just like, hey, they just promote a little bit and they're like happy if they get like 5 or 10 people, or you have some people that are like pressure the comedians to get people out. And I'm like, as a producer, I feel that's my lane, and I was just like, yes, if they're able to get people out, great, that's fantastic. But a lot of comedians are doing like 2 or 3 shows in one night, and yes, like you said, they're going to disrespect your time and all the effort that you put into the show. So finding a way to just find balance and all of that, and where it can grow to, because you could end up blowing a lot of money too. You can say, these are things you can monetize off, but like, you can lose a lot of money too, because you're like, okay, we sold these tickets. Why is it that I have nothing to show from that too? And but keep bringing those crowds in will keep it consistent and where it can grow. Yeah, but it's a learning experience. It's like it's not easy.
It's not.
People look at it and they're just like, oh, this is cute. This is a cute show. Let me do this too. I'm like, try. You can try it. But some people just naturally, I feel like that's a natural thing that you found your flow, and the people that you also produce with and put on the show with, and even with your podcast, like you're aligned, you have a vibe. So that also matters too, because you can't work with everybody, and you may not all have the same vision in mind. But anyway, I want to wrap up these questions, but I do want to ask you a question. Sure. What would you tell, if you could give your younger self advice, what advice would you say to your younger self, or what would you say to your younger self? Like, what about you?
Wow. Like, we're talking like 20 years ago me, or like 5 years ago me?
I would say, that you were the second comedian that was just like, that is actually, it's nice to be specific, because I would put it this way. I would say the younger you. I would say the you that was like before 10 years old, when you're just like, trying to find, like, just figure out, like, who is this person? Who's Shenuque?
Yeah. I would tell that kid, when you go to college, major in something creative. You're not using the degree you got. You don't just, who gives a shit? Major in like whatever, acting, creative writing. It doesn't matter. And like, honestly, you don't even have to go to college. You could just go straight to doing stand-up. Like, that was a skill. Or just do a trade profession if you want. Like, that's. College was a waste. That was bullshit time. You wasted 4 years. Everything else in your life you did great. 4 years, absolute dog shit. You don't. I
love the way you talk to yourself.
Yeah.
You're like, he understands. He's like, you think you know, but you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. Don't listen to anyone. Don't listen to Don't listen to Dati. They don't know what's going on. You don't really need college. Like, majoring in economics. You don't even know anything. You're poor when you are 31. You don't have a lot of money. It's a waste. Don't do that. Don't go to grad school either. That was a waste of time. Idiot.
It's just you, like, holding up the red flag, like, don't do this shit.
Yeah.
Go
I'm
that other
shaking
route.
this kid.
Yeah, because I think that like you don't want to get, it's hard to like say, because your journey went the way it's gonna go, your life went the way it's gonna go, and it's always good to embrace that. But man, if you could give yourself those warning signs and be like, no, don't do that shit, don't do what you're about to do, stop, go lay in bed and bum around until you figure it out,
right?
Like, that you're better than this.
The overall message is invest in your creativity. Don't try and push that down. That is the overall advice. Invest in it.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that's it. And these are the things that we know as a kid because we're kids. And we know that, like, we can still be that, like, just, have that imagination and want to do, like, have these different ideas outside of, like, your parents. Your parents are only thinking about, like, your survival, how to, like, survive, and to like, have a career and look back and say, hey, when you retire, this is what all you did. Yeah. You know what I mean? But you can do that as the person you are today. Right. Awesome. That was great. I like that. I love that. That's good. I love that. All right, so Shenuque, we're gonna play a fun game, rapid fire game. This is one of those games where you can't like really think about it too long. But I'll just explain what it is. So I'm basically gonna give you a petty, funny, or random situation. Either you'd claim it, you fully agree, love it, keep it, or release it. You toss it away forever.
Okay, so claim it or release it.
Claim it or release it.
Okay.
Karaoke night every weekend.
Release it.
Get that shit out of here.
Yeah, don't want it.
Spicy food every day.
Claim it. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. Everyone knowing your Starbucks order.
Release it. Fuck Starbucks.
Yeah,
Fuck
exactly.
Starbucks.
Go to like a local mom. Exactly. Yeah. Support small businesses.
Claim it.
Group chats with 20 plus people.
Release that shit. No need. Why? Who that? No. Get me out of that shit. Up? That's crazy.
I'm not afraid to be the person in there that goes, who put this together?
Yeah.
Take me out of here.
This was a bad idea. The person who did this should go to jail, and I'm an abolitionist. That's the only... They need to go to some reform prison.
Oh my God. Okay. No phone calls allowed vacations.
Claim it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Need more of those. Midnight grocery store runs. Ooh.
Claim it. Claim it. Sometimes you need a little snacky.
Exactly. We live in Brooklyn. Like, this is something you don't just have a regular. You just go to the store in regular hours.
Right. That's the bodega.
Right. Exactly. And the bodega guy is like just ready to tell jokes and crack jokes and stuff. Let's see here. All right, 2 more. Petty arguments over board games.
Ooh, release it. Yeah. Board games all the way.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. We just talked about. All right, and last one, random compliments from strangers.
Claim it. That's good. It's lovely. Like, and then not like just earnestly like I like your shoes and that's all I want in this interaction. That's so nice.
Exactly.
That is so
it's
nice.
Like I didn't want much. This guy did this to me. I was walking the dog and he goes he's like, cute dog, and I was like, all right. He's like, if you don't mind, like I like your style. But he asked for permission. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Yeah, and he was just smoking a blunt, like on the stoop. It was really genuine, and I was just like, see, that's how you kind of catcall without.
I love that. Of like, if you don't mind, you have great style, and don't talk to me. I don't want anything else. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. It was something, and I did think it was kind of weird because because I was just wearing like sweats and like just a hoodie or something like that, but it was still cool, that, and that's how it's a way to be respectful out here. To that, just I think sure, go ahead.
Also like if I've been like also wearing more dresses recently.
Cool.
Yeah, it's been great, and I deeply appreciate, and I don't know how all trans folks maybe feel about this, but like non-binary folks, I really appreciate when someone goes out of the way to be like, I love your dress. Because like they can tell, like I just give off like I'm a little insecure about it.
Yeah.
But that's really nice to get of like just affirming gender identity in that way.
Because it's not. Yeah, exactly. And my thing, there's a guy on TikTok who's cis heterosexual and he wears dresses and he loves it.
Yeah.
And his partner even like is just doesn't care. Like people are just like, is this a thing? Like he's like, no, it's not. He was like, because nobody cares. It doesn't bother. I think the only time he said he didn't was for his sister's wedding because he was like, I also didn't want to draw attention. Not that he needed to change, but I understand his concern. But I'm glad. Like I would look at you and just say like it's the confidence, it's being able to step out of any type of shell that you may have had that made you prevent you from like doing that or like not. But I think that is incredible. There is a comedian out there that they're not invited, but they wear dresses on stage and stuff, and I think look phenomenal. It's the legs. It's the legs.
The legs.
It's all in the legs. If you can do it, like, why not? People who if they even seem like they have an issue with it, it's because they're mad they can't put on a dress.
Right.
And please. I don't even like me in a dress, okay?
Yeah,
all right,
so
like, come on.
Put your pants on. Chloe's yelling at me.
Exactly. He's like, no, we don't need that today. But I think that is phenomenal. And it does feel good because it's something that should be normalized.
Yeah.
You know, like we should be able, there's like my nephew alone, my brother, there's one time he walked out and he went on his bike and he had on like pants. He had just a different style. He just decided to put whatever was on the floor, he put on his body, and it wasn't in the order that you would think it would go in. And my brother was like, people were like, is that a such and such on his head? And my brother was like, who cares? You know, he was just like, that's how he wanted to leave the house today, and that's how he felt good, and that made him feel good. Does it matter what is, because you don't see it happening that way, doesn't mean it's weird. It's just the fact that like he is being who he is. You know? And totally. I think everybody should be able to do that. So that is amazing. I'm happy for you too. I'm happy you're stretching the box, stepping out of the box of like just style and fashion, because you already have a phenomenal style. Oh my God, I could go through your entire closet and just take it all. Never invite me anywhere where your clothes are. If you have a suitcase, I will go through it. Oh my God! In the beginning of the podcast, I've already like talked about, hey, if Shenuque goes missing, it was me, and then now if Shenuque's clothes go missing, it's
Glo. Glo has stolen my wardrobe.
My fingerprints are all over this right now. This is all bad. All right, Shenuque. So that pretty much wraps it up. I guess I just want to say thank you, number one, because this has been an incredible episode, and you are an incredible person. But I want the listeners to know where they can find you.
Totally.
I'm going to put all your show information and like your podcast and stuff in the bio so they know. But yeah, where's a place where like they can, and you have a website and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
You can find me on Instagram at Shenuque, SHENUQUE, or on TikTok at Fake Shenuque, or my website, www.shenuquetissera.com, which I may change to www.shenuque.com at some point, which, whatever, we'll figure that out.
Okay.
But
follow you on Instagram.
Follow me if you want. Google me. Just know where I'm going to be and not talk to me at all. That's also
That's a fact. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Shenuque. This has been a great time. All right. That's it for today's episode of Undefining the Pod. Huge thank you to Shenuque Tissera for reminding us that belonging isn't about fitting in. It's about creating spaces where you get to be your full self. If you love this conversation, make sure to follow Undefining the Pod on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. You can also support this show and future episodes at buymeacoffee.com/undefiningthepod. And for more updates, behind the scenes moments, and new episode drops, follow us on Instagram at Undefining Podcast. Until next time, stay curious, stay open, and stay undefining. Undefining.